No turning back.
I love how nervous you are.
Well, I'm like, I think it's the fact that I love everything you do, but then the piece of like everyone knowing that I'm into it, it's scary.
You're like coming out of the spiritual closet.
Yes, basically.
This is your coming out video.
Hey guys, before we hop into this video, there's a few things I want to say. First of all, this is not my usual content and I was actually very nervous to share it, but very excited to have Elizabeth April on my channel. She is amazing. She's a psychic. She's a channeler. She talks about aliens. She talks about quantum physics. She's well educated. She was going to school originally to be in law, but this is now her life. You know, she helps people with awakening. So I'm excited to have her on my channel, but watching the video footage back from recording with her, I can sense how nervous I was. Like I feel my nerves while watching this footage back, and I wanted to let you guys know I was nervous. For one, because I do look up to Elizabeth, but mostly nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm really making this video and I'm sharing it with my audience. What are people gonna think? Are they gonna think I'm weird? But all I ask is that you keep an open mind and consider the fact that we are on this planet that's like a speck of dust in our galaxy, in the universe. Like look up at the sky, we're a speck of dust. And in comparison to our planet, our individual selves are a speck of dust on the planet. So can we just get curious to think that maybe there's so much more than our understanding? And I'm not challenging anyone's beliefs. I'm saying, what if your beliefs get to be true, but your beliefs are just like a little portion, a little piece of the puzzle that's bigger than our comprehension? Like what if you get to be right? And there also is so much more. But I do encourage you, again, go watch Elizabeth's channel. It might seem like, this is weird at first, but just give some of her videos a try. I'll link some of my favorites below. But yeah, as Elizabeth said, this is me coming out of the closet. So out of the spiritual closet, that is. Give this video a thumbs up to show support because I am nervous and I would love to feel a little bit of support. And I respect your beliefs. I hope that you can respect everything Elizabeth shares and just get curious. Like what if there's so much more? So without further ado, I will let Elizabeth intro herself.
So it's kind of difficult to find a label, you know, for me. I do a lot of things like psychic stuff, mediumship work, past life regression work, astral traveling, remote viewing. But, you know, at the beginning of my life, in this lifetime, I'm 28 now, and I was born with extrasensory abilities. So the ability to tap into ghosts and spirits and auras and energies. And of course, as a kid, you know, I was always the weird one. I'd go over to my friend's place and see their grandpa, and I'd be like, oh, it's so nice that your grandfather's over visiting you. And they're like, oh, well, my grandpa passed away like 4 years ago. And I'm like, oh, okay. That actually led to a lot of bullying in elementary school. A lot of kids said that I was lying and making things up for attention. And it's funny because even today I still get some of those commentary, not as much anymore, but it's very interesting. So I was very awakened at a young age, and then I decided to shut everything down at around the age of 10 years old. I just wanted to fit in, I just wanted to be normal. And so I ended up getting really heavily involved into sports. That's, in my mind, it's like, oh, all the kids who are most accepted are the ones who are into sports. So, you know, karate, basketball, jiu-jitsu, track and field, I mean, you name it, I went into it. And I excelled, and all of a sudden, you know, I made a bunch of friends, and I was popular, and I was doing well in school, and I basically had everything that a kid would ever want. But that also led to a lot of depression, anxiety, because I was missing this part of me. I was missing this piece of my soul. So at around the age of 16, I was searching for answers. And in my mind, I was thinking to myself, this can't be it. This can't be everything. I mean, if we just go to work, make a bunch of money, pop out some babies, and then we die, you know, I want something more than that, right? So I went to doctors and psychologists, I talked to my high school teachers, I went to my parents, I even spoke to a priest and asked him, all right, so you're the authority figure. what's the meaning of life? Why are we here? What is the purpose? Like, tell me there's something more than this. And every single time I was met with blank stares and disappointing answers. And, you know, and that was difficult, right? I mean, going through a depression and then going to my friends in high school and saying, have you ever questioned things? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we can drive, let's party, you know? And so finally it was my dad, actually, you know, being weird combination, but, you know, being Catholic and being an engineer. He was the one who actually said, you know what, you should try a past life regression. So at the age of 16, he was the first one to take me into a trance-like state and bring me into 5 past lifetimes that I've had. So all a past life regression is just a deep state of hypnosis or trance where you consciously remember everything that's going on. And so in about an hour and a half at the age of 16, I went into 5 other past lifetimes. And these were all lifetimes where I was philosophers and channelers and healers and you know, and just people who had access to information and knowledge. And at that point in time, at 16, I realized that once again, this was my truth, this was my journey, this was my purpose, is to be this for humanity again. So I ended up stealing my dad's past life regression book, and I started giving other people past life regressions. When I went into university at 18, that's how I made friends. Hey, do you believe in reincarnation? Do you want to see something cool? And I would take them into this state and I would open them up to past lives, and the ones who got it were my friends, and the ones who didn't just subsequently weren't, right? And so that was really cool. But then all of a sudden, all of my psychic and spiritual gifts started coming back to me. I started astral traveling. I started hearing thoughts from other people. I started getting weird glitches in the matrix. I started having downloads and information come through to me. And that was really incredible. And finally, I felt like myself again. And it wasn't until my second big reawakening in this lifetime, that was at the age of 18, went away to university. I went away to a 10-day meditation retreat when I was in university. And on the second night of the meditation retreat, I was actually abducted by aliens.
We're going there, guys. We're going there.
So we've got our little alien buddy back there. So, you know, at 18, if you asked me, do you believe in aliens? I would say, for sure, there's got to be intelligent life out there in the universe. And at this point, like I said, I was, you know, really opening up back to my psychic abilities. But if you asked me, are they here right now? No way. I mean, why would an interdimensional species be here on planet Earth with little old us? It doesn't make sense, right? Like, we're just a third dimensional species. And so after I got abducted, that's when my whole reality burst open, this whole can of worms. And finally I'm like, I have to accept it. I had that experience. This is the truth. And once again, I was bullied in university by all my university roommates saying, she thinks that she got abducted by aliens, she's crazy. And then I was like, fuck, am I crazy? You know? And so I went through that whole thing, and ever since then, now I've been doing past life regressions off this planet to take a look at, okay, cool, so you've been countless number of humans, but have you been anything else other places, you know? So I do that, and I still tune into chakra systems and energies and worldly past lifetimes as well, but the aliens are actually a big part of my existence and reality, and I believe that opening people up to the existence of interdimensional life is a huge part of their awakening as well, because it just allows us to have a bigger perception on this reality. And that's what I'm here to do, is just shift people's perception. So that's the short end of my history.
Short end. And you almost went into law too, right? Did I hear that?
Yeah. I studied global political economy in university, and I wanted to be a lawyer.
How do aliens and spirituality go together?
That's a great question. So we're gonna get crazy.
Yeah, let's get crazy.
All right. So spiritual awakening, right, is basically just opening your mind up to what is possible. And so part of the awakening is opening your mind up to other life forms on other planets and in other dimensions. And the reason why I believe that we awaken so rapidly once we start to question the existence of other life forms is because I truly believe that we are hybrid beings ourselves. So I've done a lot of astral traveling and remote viewing into ancient human history to take a look at what was the missing link? Like, how did we get here today? You know, and taking a look scientifically, human beings have 90% junk DNA. That's a fact, right? When I found this out like 10 years ago, I'm like, why isn't anyone talking about this? We have 90% junk DNA. What is it? And if we unlocked that DNA, what is possible? Where could we go with that? And so I believe, upon my research and my traveling and my experiences, that missing link was interdimensional life that was actually manipulating their DNA with us to evolve us, not to hurt us, not to harm us, not to suppress us, but to evolve us to the state that we are in now. So if you think about part of this 90% junk DNA being interdimensional, potentially interdimensional DNA, if we unlock that, what's possible? And I believe that unlocking that 90% junk DNA also unlocks the neural pathways of our brain, because we also only use about 10% of our brain capacity. So I believe DNA and brain are actually linked. So when we start to realize, wow, you know what? I could believe in alien life. I could believe something else has got to be out there. You know, when you start to open your mind to that, you actually start to naturally, organically, and automatically unlock that DNA within you. And then watch out. You know, that's when the awakening really takes off. So that's how I believe that spirituality and spiritual awakening is directly linked with cosmic life and the belief in aliens.
Yeah. What do you feel is the biggest message for humanity at this moment in time?
Yeah, so here we are, September
Casual.
2020. Yeah, no big deal.
Casual
Just
question.
a simple, do we have 5 hours or no? Ultimately, the number one message, and a lot of people just really need tangible stuff right now. You know, I could talk about quantum physics and string theory and entanglement and all that great stuff, but it's not applicable, right? Other than glitches in the matrix which people are having. But ultimately, the number one thing is how powerful you are. Right? We are all getting tested on our power and our limitations and our disempowerment. If you are giving your power away to any person, any organization, any belief system, any dogma, any old repeating patterns, it's going to come to the surface right now. You are going to be forced to deal with that disempowerment, and you're going to be forced to deal with that in a way that you have to take your power back. You cannot create and recreate your reality unless you first understand that you're powerful enough to do it. And right now, as we see in 2020, all of the global socioeconomic systems are collapsing. And I think that that's happening for a reason. And likewise, not just at a global level, but at an individual level, we are all collapsing. Even the ones who have done the work are all collapsing our own little ego reality. We are all being pushed to go above and beyond the norm, or what we think and believe is normal, into a scary place, a place full of the unknown. Right? We're being pushed into that place. And so this is a perfect time, while everything in your life is collapsing, while all of your old beliefs are breaking down, to really ask yourself, what do I really want? What's next for me? And before you start manifesting and creating what's next, once again, you have to believe that you're powerful enough to do that. And so the number one thing that everyone needs right now is that you're so freaking powerful. Everything that I can do, you can do too. If you wanted to be full psychic, you can be psychic. This is not a unique position that I'm in. I'm just helping people awaken to their truth before they believe it themselves. And that's why there's a trigger. That's why I'm pushing against the norm, is because people are disempowering themselves, not believing that this is possible, when really they can do this too.
I believe it. And with that, do you have any tips on how they can access this as well?
Yeah, so many tips. I mean, that's what my whole freaking YouTube channel is about, is just this information. But ultimately, raising your vibration.
Oh, Louise is psychic. Yeah. Yeah.
So cute. And so yeah, so the ultimate thing is raising your vibration. If you, I mean, yeah, tapping into your psychic abilities is great, but ultimately unlocking your DNA is where the power is. And all you need to do, it's quite simple, but it requires a lot of practice and awareness. It's raising your vibration. So how do you stay in a higher vibrational frequency? It really comes down to the choices that you're making. So if you open your closet in the morning and you're like, oh, just another day in quarantine, might as well put on some sweatpants, okay? If that's not serving you, if you're not excited about wearing sweatpants every day, then switch that up. Stop making decisions in autopilot. Start making decisions consciously. Even if it's, should I have coffee in the morning or tea in the morning? Well, I have coffee every day, so let's have coffee today. No! Ask yourself what you need. The more conscious decisions that you make that are in your highest vibrational frequency, the higher the vibration you become from moment to moment, and the more aware you are of things and people and situations that are not in your highest vibration, and then those collapse. And then you have to deal with the, oh no, I just lost all my friends. Well, they weren't serving you, you know, and a lot of people are going through that right now. It's just the collapse of everything that they thought they knew and loved because it's not in their highest vibration.
Absolutely. Letting go of your current reality. A lot of people ask about that.
Okay.
How does one do that when they're so emotionally attached to it? Especially in times like this, where things are getting torn up from under them.
Absolutely. So ultimately, you have to kind of remove yourself from the emotions in a lot of ways and just be objectively aware. If you're in the attachment, if you're in the reaction, if you're in it, in life, if you're playing the game of life and you're so in it that you don't actually even notice or are consciously aware of playing the game, then you're going to be wrapped in it, and it's going to be very difficult to detangle that. Right? So the first step in just kind of removing yourself from a reality that doesn't support you is recognizing and asking yourself, does this reality support me? You can't change anything if you're not aware of it first, right? So a really good technique, a really good practice, and it's funny because now you're gonna have a bunch of people going to grocery stores doing this, but I don't know if any of you know what a pendulum is. It's just kind of like a thing that swings around. I don't use it myself, but I used to do this years ago, and you can actually create your own body as a pendulum.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, so this is best at a grocery store. So you go over to like a fruit rack and you pick up a pineapple and you're holding it and you're standing straight and you ask yourself, does this pineapple serve me? And naturally your body is either gonna lean forward or lean backwards. So if your body leans backwards, it's leaning away from the pineapple, which means no, it doesn't not support me. And then if it leans forward, it's like, yes, my body needs that right now. So if you don't have your own, you know, in tune intuition and psychic abilities, like for me, it's like, oh, I'm so drawn to like pistachios this week. I don't know why, but I'm like eating all these pistachios. And then I look up the meaning of like, what are they good for? Oh, antioxidants, da da da. And I realized my body was just craving that. So I'm very attuned to just listening. But for those who have a hard time listening, you can literally just ask and naturally you're gonna notice. It's kind of freaky. So you're gonna have all these people in the grocery stores being like, yes, no, you know? And so that's a really good way. You can even write on a piece of paper, does my boyfriend, you know, support my highest good? No, shit. You know, the first reaction in everyone's mind once they start to realize that these things that we're so attached to aren't serving us is like, fuck. Now I have to change it, you know?
That, or they're gonna be like, that wasn't right. I messed that one up. It wasn't real.
Let's just pull another tarot card on this one. Yeah. Like 50 tarot cards later, you're like, damn, okay. You know, so you have to be willing to change, but you also have to ask the right questions in order to gain access to the right information.
So this year's been kind of crazy, a little wild.
A little bit crazy, just a little bit. Just like understatement of the year.
Whoa, like 2020, ugh. It's funny though, it's not like so much of this stuff that's happening, everyone's like, where did this come from? Like, this is crazy, 2020 is the worst. It's like a lot of this stuff was going on already. We're just being shown it in 2020.
Exactly.
So with that being said, what advice do you have for preparation as we move on?
So this is a really good time to just find your center before we move forward. I do believe, but don't quote me on this, I do believe that things may get crazier, get worse before they get better. So, I mean, we can be physically prepared, and I always say prepare for the worst, hope for the best sort of thing, right? And I think we're going in a really beautiful trajectory. Doesn't mean that things are just gonna be beautiful butterflies and rainbows, right? So, not yet though, not yet. And so yeah, so prepare your soul energetically, vibrationally for the next steps. And that's all about finding that 0 point frequency. It's all about finding the neutrality. It's always about, you know, removing yourself from the present moment and being objectively aware and centering yourself by holding that gratitude, learning your lessons in the present moment, and then setting intentions for the next steps in the future. everything that you're thinking about right now in this moment is rippling into your next moment and next moment and next moment. So even though you may want financial freedom and you don't have that right now, by thinking about that and visualizing that and feeling that vibrationally, you're going to be creating that for your future, whether that be next year or the year after. So this is a really good time to do the work, especially if you're out of your 9 to 5, especially if you're out of your daily routine, still in quarantine. This is a perfect time to really deep dive and explore the facets of your soul that you haven't explored, and find that neutrality by purging out the ancestral stuff, purging out the past life stuff, crying for no reason, eating a whole bag of chips. Like, just go for it and accept yourself and love yourself. But once again, you know, get to those deeper layers, because this is the time to do that work. If you do not do this work now, you will be hit hard with being forced to do this work later on. So you might as well do it now and choose to do it rather than be forced to do it. So this is a perfect time to prepare your soul and to get to that frequency of infinite manifestation.
Absolutely. And Elizabeth's channel is a great place to find guidance on that. I have been watching her videos for the last few months, and it's really made me feel safe through everything going on.
Good.
So it was a little weird at first, but it's so interesting, and I think you do this for a reason, but what you say, it's not something that people consciously know sometimes, but we get this like sensation of like, I know this.
Yeah.
Like, it might not be in our minds, but subconsciously, like, she just speaks these truths, and I'm getting like starting to get goosebumps, and that's what happens. It's like, oh, somewhere in me, like, I know that as truth.
Yeah.
Even though it's so complex, like there's it's so much, there's so many layers, but I'm just like, this is right. This is right.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. And I always say that I'm not giving you anything new or anything that you don't already know. I'm just reminding you of what your soul already has, right? Which is, everyone just needs validation, including myself. You know, that's what, okay, great. I'm not crazy. I am on the right track. Now let's go. Yeah.
Yes. So if you want more of Elizabeth, where can they find you?
Yeah, so just ElizabethApril.com, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Elizabeth April. You'll find me all over the place, and podcast and retreats and online school and you name it.
Gaia.
I'm there, Gaia.
That's where I found you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go check out all of her content. It'll blow your mind. Warm up to it, but dive in. I've sent so many people your way, and they're like, oh my gosh, like, I love this. And I'm so happy how many people have been open to you.
Good.
So I'm excited for you to explore with an open mind. And with that, get excited, because Elizabeth and I are doing another video together. She's going to be doing a reading with me, and I'm super pumped for that. That'll be out in probably another week or so. And yeah, do you have any last words for them?
Just thank you all so much for being here and being open-minded, and thank you for hosting me on your platform and inviting me here. So
I'm happy to.
yeah.
All right, well, I will see you guys soon with a new video.
Bye.